From Volusia to Chico, Williams Grove to Knoxville, and all dirt tracks in between and beyond. This is Winged Nation. 1 full hour of news and interviews with today's top dirt drivers. Now, your award-winning hosts, Steve Post and Kendra Jacobs.
Hello again, everyone. It is Winged Nation here on MRN.com, talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week. We are so glad you've joined us. We have got a great lineup of guests for you here today on the program. Brent Marks, the king of Port Royal. He is going to join us. Terry McCarl, the king of the Midwest this past weekend, picked up a couple of wins. T-Mac going to join us. And we're going to talk north of the border. Mitch Brown, the Southern Ontario Sprint Champion, but the guy that's on a roll, headed into the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals at Oswego this weekend. We'll talk to Mitch Brown as well. We'll talk to you on Twitter at Wing Nation. And on Facebook, alongside Kendra Jacobs, who has fired up her Twitter machine. So we are golden. Good times, right, Kendra?
Oh yeah, they're good. I'm just
You're
jet
coming
lagged.
back from California.
I'm having a hard time. I'm trying to get back on East Coast time, which you don't think 3 hours is a big deal, but when it's 3 hours plus you're staying up really late for good racing.
Right.
Now
exactly.
your 3 hours has really turned into like 5 or 6 hours. And I kind of have my days and nights mixed up.
You were out there for a significant amount of time
9 days.
because you were out there for the Kyle Larson charity.
Oh, no,
or the
7 days.
7 days, the Kyle Larson race, other stuff along the way in between, then the Gold Cup. So you were out there for some time also.
I was out there for a long time, but it was good. I mean, we don't get out to that side of the country. We talked about that before I left. We don't get out to California enough. So that was a good trip. Still didn't get to meet a lot of people that I wanted to, but got to see California racing at its finest.
Yep.
And there's some really good talent out there, Steve.
It's amazing. It really is.
Really impressed with DJ Netto. Very impressed.
That's cool.
Yeah, Friday night he put on a heck of a show to get up to third. It was fantastic.
Yep, DJ Netto picked up a third spot behind Shane Stewart on Friday night at Silver Dollar Speedway. Saturday night, Donnie Schatz. How about Joey Saldana? How about Joey Saldana? 3 straight second-place finishes.
Joey was tough both nights. It's hard to beat Schatz. I mean, the guy comes from literally everybody in the stands is watching him. You're like, oh, here we go. Yeah. Like you just see when his car gets hooked up, and it's so much better than everybody else. I was sitting right where they go into 3, and you'd see his car just kind of sit on the right rear, so much smoother than every other tire went in there. And everybody else is, counter steering, and he's like, like it's just like a Sunday drive for Donnie Schatz. It's completely different.
Sunday night at Antioch, it was Darren Pittman. Schatz had a flat tire, had to race back up to 11th spot.
He had that in the dash on Saturday.
Did he really?
Or Friday, maybe. Friday.
Yeah.
And suffered it again somewhere not too long ago. So Schatz, who usually doesn't have any issues.
Signs of being a human.
No, it hasn't stopped him. Let's be honest.
No. He's still winning races.
Yes. I mean, he's still not having many issues as far as getting it done. He's just having a few more hurdles involved.
Right, exactly. That's part of a Valco Racing Wheels results page. Valco Racing Wheels made by racers for racers. Other winner, the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. They were down at Texas Motor Speedway. Seth Bergman picked up the win. The All-Stars rolled into Pennsylvania, and the posse didn't smack them down. Brent Marks did, okay?
It's the All-Stars, the posse, and Brent Marks.
Brent Marks. I mean, Kendra, here's the thing, and we're going to talk to Brent in just a few minutes. Here's the thing that is amazing. Okay, he's 3 straight at Port. He won the Labor Day Classic, he won the night before the 50, and he won the Tuscarora 50. Those were his first 3 wins of this season. I mean, he's had a great year. He qualified for the A-Main at Knoxville. He's been in the hunt. He had a great run out at Eldora in the Kings Royal, but he had not been able to close the deal. Now he can't stop from going to victory lane. It's unbelievable.
Well, and one thing that we've always talked to him about is that he thinks that by traveling and not staying in Pennsylvania all the time, he is becoming a more well-rounded driver. Has he had a ton of success when he travels? Not a lot of wins to talk about, but when he goes back home, he's darn good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think what he's saying is accurate. He's learning to drive against more diverse drivers, at more diverse tracks. So now when he goes home, his skills are just honed in a little more to give him that extra bit that he needs to beat guys like Hodnett and Dietrich
that he has to tag it with all the time. Exactly. Right. And boy, he did it. Now, Port Royal, he won like $21,625 in 6 nights.
And didn't have to leave home.
Didn't have to leave home. Exactly.
So nice.
Port Royal, they had the Labor Day Classic that he won. and you talk to anybody who was there. Frank Beers was there. Talk to anyone there. Best Labor Day race ever.
But not Frank the Goat. Frank
the Goat. That's who Brent Marks met, was Frank the Goat.
Frank the Goat. I had this really confused.
There's a picture. Yeah, there's a picture. No, Frank the Goat is not Frank Beers. Our guy Frank Beers was there for the Labor Day Classic and said it's the best labor because it's an afternoon race. You go to an afternoon race on a dirt track, you kind of know what you're going to get, except for they didn't get what you kind of knew what you wanted to get because they raced hard. It was a racy racetrack. So talk to folks who went to the Labor Day Classic, said it was the best one ever. Talk to folks who went to Tuscarora 50. They said it very well could have been the best one ever of those also. Again, this is we keep clubbing this thing over the head, but what Steve O'Neill is doing at Port Royal is just every time you go there, people are saying, that's the best Tuscarora 50 ever. That's the best Labor Day Fair race ever. That's the best ever. That's all we hear out of Port. That's the best food. That's the best this. It's amazing what he's got going on in there. And we were talking about Frank Beers is a friend of Steve O'Neill. Well, anybody who's been in Central Pennsylvania is a friend of Steve O'Neill. Mm-hmm. You know, there are a lot of people that have a lot of passion for this sport, and they have passions for different parts of it. Some promoters have a passion for the bottom line, as they should. They're a business person. Steve O'Neill seems to be able to blend that passion of all of it with just the fair experience, the Port Royal, the track conditions, a racy racetrack. He thanks the drivers. We've heard that a couple times this year. He thanks the drivers. It seems to me like he's got this overall passion for the sport, and he seems to subscribe to that in hopes that at the end of the day, the bottom line takes care of itself. I don't know any of his business. I don't know. He may be losing money, maybe making money, but the reviews have been fantastic, and this guy just gets it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the racetracks that I haven't been to in a while, but would really like to get back to. And yesterday I was talking to car owner Justin Marks, and he was trying to figure out some races to go to, and he's like, I really want to get back to Port Royal. I love that racetrack. He's been there once.
Really?
But he knows he loves that racetrack.
The speed pass.
And that's what we keep hearing from people. I mean, Ashley Stremme was talking about it on Twitter today about how much that was one of the best races she's ever seen.
It's insane. It really is. It's great. It's great stuff. National Sprint League Friday night. How about the North Pole Nightmare? Billy Baylog. Billy Baylog is another great story this year. When he left the IRA, and it was kind of like left the IRA sounds like it's negative. There's nothing negative about him leaving the IRA.
It benefited both people.
It benefited everybody because Baylog is out now taking wins off from Ian Madsen and Linton Jeffrey. T-Mac was in the race, Danny Lasowski. So Baylog is better off, and then the IRA's been an amazing season. Friday night, Baylog scored the win. Saturday night at Cedar Lake Speedway, it was a combo platter. The IRA and the National Sprint League, T-Mac scored the win. Passed Brownie in traffic midway through the race.
It sounded like, and I know people were down on them for low car counts.
Friday night they had a low.
Folks, when we look at the people who were there, this was not like an easy pickings by Billy Baylog. He was against tough drivers. I don't care if there's 25 of them or 15 of them.
Right. There was 14 or 15 there. But, here's the funny thing. I was thinking about it with Eagle. We always wonder why Knoxville closes early. And it's like, well, they close early, that sort of thing. Maybe we're seeing a little bit why. It's just the Midwest is just the team owners can support so many races, and they get to the end of the year and they start running shy on funds. Mm-hmm. We get that. That's business. I mean, if you're in the point fund, the point championship, fine. But when you're down to 14 or 15 cars, you're not losing the big names. You're right. The big names were there. Baylog dusted off the best in the business. Mm-hmm. The problem of it is those guys that are not in the point funds, well, Knoxville is done, and maybe they've got one more they want to focus on, and I think we see that. And I don't think it's wrong. I just think it's growing pains of a new series like the National Sprint League. And, my God, what Todd Quiring's done is phenomenal, but I think it's got growing pains. Okay, a regular standard $3,000-$4,000 to win show on a Friday night in September in the Midwest isn't going to make it. Let's not do it again, and let's move forward, and I think that's where they're at with us.
Well, and I think the key is if we didn't have the NSL, where would these guys have been this weekend?
Nowhere.
Exactly. So 15 cars or 25, I don't care. Great race. Quit complaining and go watch great dirt track racing and be happy you have it. Absolutely. Great stuff, that's for sure. Other winners, Paul Neinheisel won the MOA Series race. Jared Hull won one of those as well. Dusty Zomer, Cole Duncan won at Fremont. And Houston's on Sunday night. T-Mac took home the $10,000 top prize. There you have it. It is our Valco Racing Wheels results page. Valco Racing Wheels, made by racers for racers. www.valco.com, and a guy who put Valco Racing Wheels in victory lane 3 times in the last week and a day at Port Royal. Brent Marks joins us next.
Hi, I'm Kyle Larson, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
It's O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Earn double points on 5 quarts of Castrol GTX conventional motor oil and a MicroGuard filter for $22.99. Or upgrade to Castrol GTX High Mileage for $24.99. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa. Your destination for sprint car history. Check out the Salute to Champion Doug Wolfgang exhibit featuring 5 of Doug's sprint cars, all 5 of his winning Knoxville Nationals trophies, as well as helmets, uniforms, and other Wolfgang memorabilia. Also check out Damian Gardner's world's fastest sprint car that the Demon drove at 211 miles per hour at Bonneville. Open 7 days a week all year in the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville, Iowa. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum.
I'm Sammy Swindell, now back to Wing Nation with Steve and Kendra.
Welcome back, everyone. Having a great time here on Wing Nation. So glad you joined us. We're on Twitter at Wing Nation, on Twitter at Wing Nation, Facebook at facebook.com/Wing Nation. Joining us now on the Classic Ink Screen Printing and Embroidery Hotline, the man who owns the keys to Victory Lane at the Speed Palace Port Royal Speedway. Brent Marks is on the line. Hello, Brent. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Dude, what's going on up there? My God.
I know it's been an awesome 2 weeks for us. Definitely unreal. Been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, talk about these wins because, I have to think that after the Labor Day win, you're like, that's pretty cool. But I doubt that you expected to just sweep the 2 weekends in a row there.
Yeah, it was definitely a shock. I know that we have a good car at Port Royal, and we've been fast there all year long. But I just we've gone all year. Running super consistent, but just never could break into the win column, and to get that win on Labor Day, it was almost like a boost for me, and I just had a lot of confidence going into the weekend of the Tuscarora 50, and our car was on point, and I could just do some really good things with that race car, and it was just great. I just definitely something that I knew that we could win the Tuscarora 50. But to do it winning the night before and the Tuscarora 50 was a really awesome moment for our race team.
Brent, going back to that win on Labor Day, the Labor Day Classic, I believe I read the night before you struggled a little bit at Williams Grove, and you guys went and you pulled out a different car, which, by the way, was your Knoxville car, and that just seems to have done the trick for you. Is that indeed the case, and why do things like that happen?
Yeah, I don't know, and it's just. We were running that car out west when we were doing the Knoxville trip, and we ran it at Ironman and for the Front Row Challenge, and it worked great out there. We ran good, and we ran the other car there for Knoxville that we built specifically for the Nationals, and that car just felt great. It just had a great attitude towards it, and I just felt really comfortable in it. And we came home and, we just parked that car. We were just going to save it for the end of the year for the National Open and the World Finals. And we just got a lot of races on this other car. And, we were up at about 20 races, and it didn't handle bad, but we just weren't fast with it. And I just got frustrated there Sunday night at Williams Grove, and said to my dad, we're just going to park this thing, and we're going to bring out our car we ran at Knoxville, and I feel really comfortable in that, and we're going to go and race it and see if we can do any better. And next thing you know, we pull all 3 in a row with it. So I don't know. The car is just it's just one of those frames that we got that just works. Whatever we do to it, it just works, and it feels really stable all the time, and I just feel really comfortable in it, and that's the biggest thing. You got to feel comfortable in what you're driving. Because then that means you're confident in what you can do with it. And I was definitely very confident there last week.
Steve and I were talking yesterday, and something I didn't realize, because we keep talking about you this year and keep talking about your season, is that this was your first win of the year when you won at Labor Day. And I was shocked by that stat. You think about the season of making the Knoxville Nationals and running so well and traveling so much. In your eyes, not winning till this point in the season, was this a good season for you, or a season that didn't meet your expectations?
Well, when we look back at it, it's probably the best season we've ever had as far as consistency wise. Just about every week back here at home. Even when we went out west, we were competitive, but back here at home, we were in the top 5, top 10 just about every single race we entered in, and we just were really, really good, but could never get in the victory lane, and I don't have an answer why. It's just I just guess things just didn't go our way. But it got to the point where it got frustrating, and I was content with it up until the nationals, because I knew we were doing good, and I'm a big believer in as long as we put ourselves in position every single week, we're going to get our wins. But they just never came around, and then we made the nationals, and that was such a huge accomplishment for us. And after that, I told my team, I said I'm not going to accept anything other than a win here for the rest of the year. I said we need to get ourselves in victory lane. The second and third and fourth place finishes just ain't going to cut it anymore. And I got really hard on myself, and we just started pushing, and we got ourselves a win, and then it just kind of set the tone for us for the rest of the week, and hopefully for the rest of the year here. It's just one of those things, you finally get it, and then it's just like you break that barrier, and then things just start coming to you. It's definitely weird how racing works.
Yeah, it really is. And it seems like in Pennsylvania, it's been the year of someone getting hot. We had a spell where Dietrich got hot, a spell where Hodnett, a spell where Monteith, Smith. It's just one of those things that seems to be the case. Now, off the racetrack, Brent, you guys had an interesting Saturday up there in that you were waiting for the Tuscarora 50 to happen. But what did I see? You guys did all kinds of fun stuff at the fair?
Yeah, that's one nice thing about the Tuscarora 50. They got the fair going on there, and it's all week long, and they got a lot of stuff to do there. And we were waiting out the rain there, and it stopped, and we started walking around there, and they started work on the track, and went to get something to eat, and walked around and looked at all the animals and just things like that. It was just kind of wasting some time there, and it's just a really good time there. During that week, it's just something different. There's not many racetracks you get to go to that has a fair all week long that you have things to do while you're at the racetrack, So it's definitely a lot of fun for a lot of people.
And you met a goat named Frank?
Yeah, he was friendly. I just went up there and he came up to me and I started petting him. I'm like, I'm going to get a selfie with him.
Maybe the goat was good luck.
Yeah, maybe it was. I know.
I mean, because GOAT stands for greatest of all time, right? So maybe if you have like a good luck goat that travels with you, you could have like a goat mascot.
I know. I should call them people up and ask if I could buy them or something.
Yeah.
Can we take Frank?
Yeah. Can I have Frank just for a few more weekends this year? Can I just have Frank? That would be
funny.
Awesome. And you would be like every little kid's favorite driver.
Yeah, I know. It definitely would be great. And I could put him in my backyard so that way I don't have to mow my grass either.
It's a win-win-win. I mean, this is a perfect solution.
Love it.
Frank is now a hero.
Yes, absolutely. What is the balance of the season? I think you mentioned World Finals, of course, the National Open. You doing Selinsgrove, Lincoln along the way? Anything special, or there's a lot still going on in Pennsylvania? Is that the plan for the balance of the year?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're gonna hit all the big shows here in Pennsylvania, and the traveling thing for us has slowed down, and our next long trip's going to be the World Finals. But we're thinking about maybe going out to Eldora for the All-Star finale too. We're not quite sure yet, but we might end up doing that. So that might be our next trip. But other than that, we got a lot of big shows coming up here at home, and we're looking forward to racing those shows and try to contend for those wins too. So we're feeling really good right now, and that's always a good thing to have on your side when you feel confident and everybody's in a good mood.
That was our question on Twitter when we started your show, because I kind of set it up with Steve in our intro, is that you're someone who does leave the porch. You do find going out to other tracks is helpful for you. So we asked the fans if they thought that you traveling off the porch and going to other tracks and racing against other drivers, or what gives you the extra boost when you go back home to be better against guys like Hodnett and Dietrich. The fans kind of have mixed opinions, so we'll ask you straight from your mouth. Do you believe that that's what helps you when you go back home?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm a lot better driver than I used to be 2 years ago. And I'm my own crew chief too, so I'm a lot better as a crew chief, you know, and set up my own race car and things like that. You know, it just the things that we learned out of Eldora, you know, Crawford, Ironman, Knoxville. You know, we took all those things that I would have never thought to even try here at home, that we tried out there, and I brought them back home here, and I tried them here, and it worked. And it just made us that much faster. And, you know, a lot of things that we learned at the Nationals, we actually applied to the race car during the Labor Day show at Port Royal. And it was just a tweak here and there, but it made a huge difference. And I felt a lot better moving around the racetrack. And, you know, typically the way I was before, you know, I was kind of like a one group type of person. You know, I could either run the high side, but I was a little not so good on the bottom, you know, and I couldn't really find a happy medium for both lines there. So the things that we learned out west there, you know, we were able to apply, and now I'm better, you know, at both ends of the track, you know, top, bottom, middle, wherever. And the different techniques that I learned, you know, I can apply back here at home. So it's just been a different experience and been a lot of fun for me, and I've learned a ton of things racing against you know, the Outlaws and racing at those different racetracks, and it's just something that I thought, you know, we would never end up doing, but we got the opportunity to do it, and we took advantage of it, and it's working out well for us, and hopefully we can do even more next year. So we were just kind of getting our feet wet with it last year, and then we went a little heavier this year, and maybe next year we can go even heavier yet. So I'm excited for what my future holds, and hopefully we can be more competitive next time we go out to those other tracks. So you know, we had a lot of fun at some of the big races this year. You know, during the Kings Royal when we had the rain delay there, racing at 4:00 in the morning. You know, we go from 20th to 6th place, you know, in the A main there, and unfortunately I got caught up when Donnie ran out of fuel there in a wreck. But you know, that was amazing for us. You know, it's just like, you know, we're a little team out of Pennsylvania that ran out there that had only been to Eldora about 3 times, and you know, we were competitive, and that's just the thing about us. You know, every time we hit those racetracks, you know, we get better and better and better. You know, we just got to build our notebook, and that's the goal for us. You know, and next year when we go out there, maybe we can contend for a top 5 finish out there. You know, it's just the way it works. You know, it's just a lot of people, you know, expect you to go out there and set the world on fire right away, but it doesn't work that way. You gotta start at the bottom and work your way up.
Well, and it's been impressive. It really has been so much fun to watch. Brent, congratulations on the success, and thanks for joining us here on Wing Nation.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's definitely been an honor getting to know you guys and getting to see you more often now that we are traveling. So it's definitely been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We share that as well. We share that. That's Brent Marks, winner of the Tuscarora 50 and all things Port Royal this past weekend. And Kendra, you asked the question, and Brent answered it in definitive terms. And the performance on the racetrack shows. The kid is out there racing. He's wheeling the car. And I love the idea that, well, we may sneak out to Eldora one more time. I love that.
I love when he says, you know, maybe next year there'll be more. And maybe
exactly.
after that there'll be more. You know what that's called? A true outlaw.
That's right.
That he is running a true outlaw schedule, and I love it. And for him to say point blank, yes, this helps me, maybe that will inspire others.
Yeah, absolutely. Brent's interview brought to you by Classic Ink Screen Printing and Embroidery. More than hats. They've got T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, towels, golf balls, shorts, hats. You can do it all. More than just racing. And, oh, by the way, Brent Marks gets his stuff from Classic Ink. You can find out more information at ClassicInkUSA.com. That's ClassicInkUSA.com. Stay with us. T-Mac is back. He's coming up next.
This is Winged Nation on MRN.com. Steve and Kendra will be right back.
Racers, that's who Valco wheels are. That's who they know, and racing is what they know. Valco Wheels focuses oval track and grassroots racing and understand racers need a quality wheel that fits your budget. With over 25 years experience, Valco Wheels produces the best product and give you face-to-face support and customer service at the track. Fast delivery, innovative products, problem solving. Find Valco Wheels at Valco.com on Twitter or Facebook, or call Valco Wheels at 609-758-7013. Valco Wheels. Already dreading the thought of the off-season and winter? Head down under with Down Under Racing Tours. Don't be stuck in the cold and snow when you could experience the best sprint car racing in Australia, such as the Classic, World Series Speedway, King's Challenge, President's Cup, and the Australian title with Down Under Racing Tours. Owned and operated by an Australian who knows racing down under. Visit downunderracingtours.com or call 717-364-2576. Down Under Racing Tours for a racing experience of a lifetime.
I'm Paul McMahon. Now back to Wing Nation with Steve and Kendra.
Thank you, Paul. We appreciate it. Welcome back, everyone. It is Wing Nation here on MRN.com. Joining us now, picked up a win Saturday night at Cedar Lake, Sunday night at the Houston Speedway, the last ever race at a track known as Houston Speedway. A little change of name and change of ownership going into next year, but it was a good weekend for Terry McCarl, who joins us on the line now. Hello, T-Mac. Welcome back, man.
Great to be back.
Well, congratulations. Looks like you had a solid, strong weekend out there.
Well, yeah, I can't complain about it. It went really well. Two of our favorite tracks, actually three with Eagle, but had great track conditions, and it was a top and a bottom and a middle, didn't lay rubber, and we had a great car every night for us, so I couldn't be happier.
Steve and I were talking at the beginning of the show about the NSL, and we sometimes complain that Knoxville's season ends so early. What are your thoughts? We were kind of talking about when drivers run for points, maybe their season is winding down, but there's some that still want to race all the time. How do you feel about how the Midwest schedule is shaping up when tracks that run for points are already done for the season?
Well, people complain about Knoxville doing that. They know what they're doing. I mean, they've tried to make things happen this time of year or later in the year, and it just doesn't work for them. People want high school football starts, college football, everything starts going a different direction in this area, and it's just the way it works out. I wish we could start sooner. People are hungry for a race. Beginning of April is when the weather would change a little bit, and it kind of is. People are hungry for a race at that point. I think the races could be more successful in April, but this time of year it's more difficult for Knoxville to make that happen. I wish they could too, but they just can't, and they tried it and it doesn't work. And it's a little better for some people that want to travel, go out and do something different, maybe go to Houston or some of the other different venues that have specials at this time of year. So, as it is, I think Knoxville is doing the smart thing.
Yeah, it works for them, and it's a pretty successful little joint. So, they've had pretty good success over the years. They really, truly have. Terry, you won $10,000 at Houston Speedway. Of course, there's a name change involved, ownership change involved. Do you get wrapped up in and I know it's $10,000. I know you get wrapped up and take it out to the bank. I get that. But is there some part about that that's pretty neat, knowing that you won the final one at a track known as Houston Speedway?
Yeah, it was really special to me and my family and my team. Houston has been a huge part of our lives, and I've been going there quite a long time, and I own quite a few of the track records there, the most wins and all that stuff. So, we've kind of had a lot of success there. Broke my leg there. My sons have grown up there from when Carson was a little baby boy sleeping underneath the Aftall's table up in their suite, up in the suites back in the day. And, so there's a lot of history. We're really good friends with the Rubin family. They've done a great job. I went there, before they even owned it, and I've seen all the improvements they did and the things they did to make the racing better. And Steve Rubin is actually probably one of the best promoters in the country. I'm kind of privy to a lot of the things he does behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know, and a lot of great promotional ideas that he's had. So I know what an excellent promoter he is, and how he does little things to make us, the racing teams over the years, Leonard Lee and a bunch of guys used to come up there. We used to think, man, we have so much fun coming to Houston, and a lot of it was from the Rubens and how they treated us. And, they got us free hotel rooms and, local restaurants, and people were behind the racing and sponsored us. So, back in the day, even Guy Forbrick, when I drove for him, I'd say the majority of his sponsorship came from that area. And, Big Game Tree Stand started sponsoring me originally because of that track. And the bulk of my sponsorship, and basically all of Austin's sponsorship, comes from that area. I've always said that the Sioux Falls in that area, Minnesota Sioux Falls, those fans kind of remind me of PA Posse fans. They're really into sprint car racing. They're real passionate about it. So, when they love you, they love you. When they hate you, but they're coming out to watch the races, and they really enjoy sprint car racing. So I would say they're a little closer to PA fans maybe than the folks down here. But, that whole area is just behind sprint car racing, and I think it's going to continue. And I think Chuck Brennan's going to make a lot of unbelievable improvements to the place and offer a lot of money. And, with what the NSL's doing and what Todd's done, and we've raced a couple races for $25,000 to win. Oski paid $20,000 to win. Yeah. There's a lot of big races, a lot of opportunities for us as teams and families to make more money doing what we love. where back in the day, I used to say, Williams Grove will have 2 or 3 or 4 races, Jack Gunn Memorial, Mitch Smith Memorial, things like that, to pay $10,000 to win, and you don't have to race against the Outlaws. And we need those kind of events around here. And so hopefully Knoxville will step up for some bigger races too. And I know Chuck is and Todd is at Jackson and a lot of the tracks. So I'm really excited about the future of 410 racing around here.
Yeah, one of the questions, and you're like the mayor out there, so you'll have the best insight for us on this, is a lot of people are concerned about Huset's and Knoxville going head-to-head on Saturday nights. Is there enough support out there for both tracks to have successful shows?
I think so. I mean, Knoxville and Huset's are 375 miles away. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. There's 3 or 4 teams that run both, maybe me and, a few other guys, but if we can't sustain that, then we got serious problems in this area and serious problems in racing. And I don't think we do. I think what needs to happen and what's going to happen is more guys are going to move up, kind of like you're seeing in the IRA area. More guys are going to move up out of the 360 ranks and move up to the 410s or get a 410 to run. You don't need a Williams Knoxville type motor to run Huset's. They're back in the day, and it could still happen if they get a track like we had Sunday night. A 360 can be competitive and win. So you don't need the type. Austin won 3 or 4 features of Huset's the last few years with an 8 or 9-year-old engine that we sold for $10,000, and it's a very competitive engine up there, and it wouldn't be at Knoxville or Williams Grove. So I think that with the NSL, with Huset's running out paying better, a lot of the North Dakota guys will probably come down, or a few come down to Huset's and run weekly, and more guys are going to maybe move up and get a 410. I mean, there's a lot of good 360 guys around here, like Russ Hall, that would be a great 410 racer. He just hasn't had the money to do it. And I think with the opportunity to make more money and really, to split the field a little bit would help guys like my son Austin and Carson to win races. It's very, very hard to win at Knoxville. I think Knoxville is actually a pretty easy track to drive compared to, say, Huset's, but very difficult to win. It's always been that way since I was a boy and my dad raced there. And these young guys need to win races to get people to notice them and sponsors to notice them and build their name. So the more races we have, the more opportunities younger guys have to win races. And it's easier to beat Danny Wasowski and Terry McCarl at Huset's than it is at Knoxville. So, again, I think it's better for the sport, and more people are going to move up and get 410s if there's more places for them to run them.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that makes a lot of sense. That makes all the sense in the world, actually, and that's really encouraging on this. I think it's human nature. We say, oh, no, split. Maybe it's opportunity is what boils down. That's really, I like that. I like the sounds of that. And, yeah, if Lincoln and Port can do it 50 miles apart or 40 miles apart, 330 some or 350 miles apart, ought to be able to do it in the Midwest as well.
And that's a point I never thought of. So I'm glad that we got Terry's insight on that, because that is not something I would have thought of.
See that, T-Mac? You enlighten Kendra and I every time.
Yeah, Knoxville is the greatest track in the world, and there's never going to be an event like the Knoxville Nationals. And, years ago I talked to Al Hamilton. He and I were friends, and he was talking about buying Susquehanna, and I told him then, I said, you should buy Williams Grove. And he's like, oh, they want too much. But I said, Williams Grove has what you can't buy, Al, and that's history. Knoxville has history, and the Knoxville Nationals is always going to be a huge event. And you know what? Frankly, Knoxville needs to step up the program. They need to, get into Y2K and start promoting differently and better. I don't know the answers, but you got to start moving up with the times and doing different things. And I think this would be great for Knoxville. In the long run, it's all going to be good. Competition is good, and it gives another place for people to race. And Knoxville is always going to be the greatest facility in the world and the greatest track. But again, times change, and you got to change with them. So this would be good for Knoxville, I think, to step up their program, hopefully.
So talk to us about what the rest of your season looks like. You're not a guy that's just going to say, oh, the season's winding down, I'm staying home. I would imagine your schedule is still quite full for the next few months.
Well, we're pretty excited. We go to Spencer Fair, the Spencer World of Outlaws show. The Spencer Fair is an amazing county fair. It's almost like a state fair. It's so big. But we go up there for Gillen Enterprises, Justice Brothers, and we show our car at their fair, at their booth on Friday afternoon, and run with the Outlaws Friday and Saturday at Deer Creek. And then we're going to actually take a week off, believe it or not. We've been running full tilt since the 360 Nationals. We're all pretty wore out, and going to get ready for the NSL finale there at IAE in the 1st of October. And then I always head out to California for the Trophy Cup, one of the best events in the country, in Tulare, one of our favorite tracks for Country Builders Construction. We head out there, and we're going to run the Trophy Cup 360 show, thanks to Don Long getting us an engine. And then we'll probably go to Short Track Nationals maybe again. We went there a few years ago for the first time, and then head down and, of course, finish with the World Finals. That's such a great event. The Outlaws have done an amazing job. And, I look at things like a promoter a lot, and as a fan, I think that's really turned into an awesome event, the World Finals. So great way to end the year, and that'll be our plan. And then maybe do a couple winter heat shows in January, and then head over to Australia to drive Colin Bulmer's car again at the Classic. So, you think we have a lot of time off, but by the time you clean everything up, sell off used cars, build new cars, and do maintenance on your truck and trailer, and with all the holidays, it goes pretty fast.
I'm glad you brought up Trophy Cup because I was out at California this week for Gold Cup, and all I kept hearing about was Trophy Cup, Trophy Cup. This race is amazing. What is it about that race that makes guys like you go to California for this one weekend?
Well, it pays really well, and of course, I do it for Country Builders Construction. The Oldfield family, they're like my second family, but it is a fun event. I've had my sponsors and fans say, "Hey, we're thinking about coming to California. What should we do?" I said, "You got to go to Tulare." When they get Tulare right, it gets up on the fence, and you're literally driving on the fence. I watched Dominic Selby, run a race there and drive all, two wheels up on the fence about every lap. It was just exciting to watch. Rico Abreu is probably one of the most exciting sprint car driver in the country, but if you see him at Tulare, it's times 10 because that guy, he's amazing to watch at Tulare. It's just a fun racetrack. And then the format, of course, it's all inverted, and it pays really well. So, again, just a fun event for all the fans. But as a driver, again, Tulare, when it's right, and they get it right quite often, it's just a really fun track.
Well, it does. It sounds really, really good. T-Mac, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on the continued success. We'll look forward to catching up with you here in Charlotte in a few months down the road. But thanks for joining us, and, again, congrats on the success.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. Hopefully we'll be on again. You only call when I do good. You don't call when I do bad. So hopefully we're on again before the year's over.
Well, go out and do something, and we'll call you back, right?
All right. Sounds good, guys.
That's it. Terry McCarl joining us here on the program. Really, really cool stuff. I'm a glasses overflowing person by nature. I'm just a glasses overflowing person. His description of the Huset's Knoxville thing has me fired up.
I'm telling you, I thought it was the worst decision I've ever heard of by Huset's. I really did. I thought, why would you go against Knoxville? But what he's saying makes so much sense. He really did just make me see this in a whole new light.
When you think about it, in the vicinity out there, okay, and I'm not talking about, but in the vicinity of Huset's and Knoxville, you've got all the guys that run up at River Cities. Okay, maybe now it's like, well, if T-Mac and the dudes stay at Knoxville, I may move to go to Huset's.
You have a chance to win.
Have a chance to go to Huset's. The IRA, we've talked so much about the IRA and how they're growing. Well, here's maybe another opportunity from someone from the IRA on a Saturday night to go down to Knoxville, where maybe it's considered a little less competitive. I don't know. I don't know how you consider any of it less competitive, or maybe to Huset's, and then all the 360 teams out there as well. They both run 360s, Knoxville and Huset's do. I don't know.
I was thinking from a very narrow-minded point of view. I'm thinking you have 40 guys at Knoxville. How do you split them? I wasn't thinking of all the other guys that could start coming in now. And I love what he says about if you don't have the best engine in the world, you can still go to Huset's and win. You can't do that at Knoxville, which has kept a lot of those guys from traveling, but now maybe they will. I'm really, really glad that McCarl shed that light on it.
Absolutely. And Terry McCarl, of course, races at Knoxville, which is right in the shadows of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. They have the Expand the Dream program coming up. SprintCarHOF.com, SprintCarHOF.com. Birthdays this week. Frankie Kerr on Sunday. Hoyette Hodnett, Greg's the late father of Greg Hodnett. Birthday was yesterday. And today, Ron Schumann, the Flying Shoe, Kendra. Schumann was from Tempe, Arizona, raced super-modified sprint cars, midgets, Indy cars, 2003 inductee into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, 14 World of Outlaw wins, and was the 1979 Knoxville Nationals champion. The Flying Shoe.
Yeah.
Ron Schumann.
Great driver.
Birthday today. How about that? And tomorrow, we would have celebrated Jason Leffler's birthday. So obviously just we think about Jason, we think about his boy, we think about everyone, and just with Jason. So sadly, we'll be celebrating his birthday without him tomorrow. So we certainly do that. But there you go. That is the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. They Expand the Dream program. You can get involved at SprintCarHOF.com. We need to step away north of the borders where we go next. As we continue on, Mitch Brown joins us on the program.
I'm Kerry Madsen, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
The new standard in race car screen printing and embroidery, Classic Ink USA. Full custom race car track swag apparel, quality customer service, and the industry's finest graphic designers, assuring quick turnaround and the highest customer satisfaction. See the latest designs at ClassicInkUSA.com, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or call us 724-482-6224. Serving racers and their teams, all divisions, all over the world. Classic Ink USA, at the track and on your back.
This is Winged Nation. Back to Steve and Kendra.
Welcome back, everyone. Having a great time. We appreciate Terry McCarl joining us, Brent Marks joining us. We're going north of the border now. The Southern Ontario Sprints. If you follow along with Wing Nation, last year about this time, I actually was able to go north for the Canadian Tire race and was able to go and up to Brighton and catch the Southern Ontario Sprints, and I found just a great, great group of people. Got rained out at us weekend the year before that, but north of the border, there's some great sprint car racing happening up around the Lake Ontario area, and the champion of the Southern Ontario Sprints, Mitch Brown, joins us on the program. Hello, Mitch. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good, good. Congratulations on that win of the championship. Sounds like you put together a pretty strong season.
Yeah, it was fun. Right from the beginning, I think we won the opening race and really didn't finish off the top three all year, so it was a pretty consistent year.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a part of the country we get to go to a lot. Fill us in on the racing up there, the competition, what the tracks are like.
Oh, we actually have some really nice tracks. Oswego, obviously, top of the list, but then there's many more. And the racing's gotten better, and it's only going to continue to grow just with more competition, more teams, and just more interest around here.
How much, we talked about this a little bit with the Southern Ontario Sprints, but you guys also kind of touch base with the Patriot Sprints, the Empire Super Sprints. They come up and go in your area, of course, last weekend. Sprints on dirt are not too far away. How much interaction during the course of the season, how many times do you see a couple of ESS guys or a couple of Patriot guys? Do you go out and meet those guys? How much do you have between the sanctions of the groups, if you will?
Yeah, it's a pretty decent group. Really, there's a decent area you can race here, and obviously a lot of those guys do come up to Oswego, and I think we've basically raced with all those series this year, whether it was the ESS or Patriots, and then the SOD and NRA down that way, and you really just travel, and you do see those guys quite often.
Well, talk us about the race that's coming up this weekend. This is a big one up there, and a lot of people love heading up there, not only to watch, but to compete in it. Tell us what makes this race special.
Well, 12 grander win's a good start, and then it's a tough race, really. Just a one-day show, basically Saturday, and if you get a bad draw or draw a tough heat or something, it can be tough. So definitely just making a show can be tough, but the 12 grand just brings out mostly, you're going to get a lot of people from the States, whether it's Michigan way, all the guys from New York, and I'll be here. So it's a pretty cool weekend.
Pretty cool weekend indeed. Mitch, I'm looking at your bio here. Third generation of a race car driver. What did your dad and what did your grandfather race?
My grandpa raced late models, probably early 60s, 70s, and then got into the super modifieds at Oswego and that, and ran around there probably into the 70s and that, and then basically stopped around then and just watched my dad race. He raced dirt bikes when he was younger and got into the NASCAR stuff up here. So when I was born, I was basically just born into it, and I've seen a race car my whole life, basically.
Well, how'd you end up in sprint cars then?
Just basically, I told my dad I wanted to go race dirt, and he said, well, let's go start in a mini stock and see where that goes. And you just got to watch the sprint cars at Oswego every Friday night, and it's just sort of a natural progression. You're just like, those things are cool, and they're really the coolest race car I've ever seen. And just, you want to try one of them? And I was like, yeah, and it's just grown from there.
Yeah, I mean, Steve and I think that as well, but we're a little biased. When you say things like he raced dirt bikes, I'm like, oh my goodness, like those things scare me so bad. Did you ever do that when you were a kid?
I tried it a little, but I try to stay on four wheels, even though people think sprint cars are insane. I find it a little safer.
Yeah, just a little bit better than those dirt bikes. I agree. So talk to us about one of the things we like to do, especially when we have guys on the show for the first time, is get to know you a little better as a person. What do you do when you're not racing? Do you have a family? Is there another hobby you have going on?
Basically, since I finished playing hockey a couple years ago now, it's just been racing and working. My family's owned a business here, and just outside of Oswego and Brantford for 60 years now. And it's just car repairs and car sales. So it's just working on cars, race cars, and selling cars, basically.
It's all cars all the time.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
That's really, really cool. That's awesome. Now, what did you play in hockey?
I got up here. It's called Junior B, so it'd just be like a level below the OHL and stuff. So it's like the second highest level of junior you could play up here, and just really had some opportunities, but it's just never worked out and that, and you just got to move on and find something different in life.
What position did you play?
I was a centerman. Obviously, I'm fairly short, so it was a struggle some days, but I managed to do all right considering my size.
Yeah, hockey is another thing I know nothing about, Steve. Maybe that's just like a Southern thing for us, but maybe Mitch can show us. Mitch, tell Steve we need to get up to this Canadian Short Track Nationals, don't we?
Yeah, if you guys are ever got a weekend off, come up here. It's all right. Well, it's 2 days, so it's fun 2 days and that, and actually hockey does start. So I know we've got rained out a few years here, and went and seen a hockey game instead. So there's always something going on.
That's perfect. We could catch hockey with Mitch, and then we could go watch him race.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, hockey live. We have a team here in Charlotte. Live hockey is fantastic. It really is. All right, now, Mitch, before you guys get started, though. I mean, I know the big one is Saturday night. That's when they're paying the $12,000. But on Friday night, they do the Burger Barn night before the Nationals. Have you been to the Burger Barn?
Yeah, I think we're almost weekly regulars there. So we've tried their menu pretty good.
Yeah, no, I did. The night I got rained out at this weekend, I may have got rained out at the racetrack, but I did not get rained out at the Burger Barn. That was pretty stout, pretty good place. Well, I'll tell you what, Mitch, congratulations on the success with the Southern Ontario Sprints Championship, and we'll be following along this weekend. Have a good run-up at us weekend.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me, and good talking to you.
There we go. That's Mitch Brown joining us here. Great racing family, great racing history. I love the history because it's like super modifieds. It's like NASCAR Canada.
Dirt bikes, which blows my mind. My thing is he kind of reminds me of Dale Blaney in the fact that he was really, really good at one sport to begin with, had a chance there to make that a career, and still went racing instead. So to be that talented at two different things, to make careers out of it, is really impressive. Because Steve, I never had that opportunity with any sport. So for someone to have it with two of them, kudos.
Yep, indeed. So cool meeting Mitch. I chatted with him up there last year. Doug, part of the team up there, the whole gang. Just when I came out of Brighton, I said, "Man, that is just great people." And Mitch was part of great people. I mean, they really are. And it's really funny because we talk about the health of sprint car racing, but if you look at Lake Ontario, and Lake Ontario is a huge lake. It's one of the Great Lakes. Okay, but to the south, you've got the Patriots. To the southeast, you've got the Empire Super Sprints. North, you've got the Sprints on Dirt. Kind of west, you've got Oswego. And even further west, you've got the NRA, which runs up in northern Ohio, and the Sprints on Dirt that run over in Michigan. If you didn't have this stinking lake in the middle of it all, you'd have about 15 tracks and about 60 teams within 200 miles.
Stupid lake.
But this Lake Ontario, in other words, you could about from probably where Mitch is at, you could about see Oswego or Oswego Speedway or see some of the tracks, but you got to drive around this stupid lake to get there.
And that just takes a little bit of extra time.
So we need to figure out how to get rid of Lake Ontario.
Maybe we should just create like a sprint car ferry system.
Yeah, there you go.
Like it would have to be huge, so we could take like 4 transporters at a time.
Dean Reynolds with the ESS, he'll figure this out. He'll figure this out because seriously, when you look at the distance from say a Canandaigua, which is just south of the lake, to Brighton, it's probably 60 miles, but it takes you 360 miles to drive there because of this stupid lake in the middle of it. We need to get rid of this. We need to fix this.
Get rid of the lake so that way sprint car racing is better.
What that means
We're
is
not selfish or anything.
What that means is there's a lot of great 360 racing in that area. That is a hotbed. We've talked about 360 racing across the board. That is a real hotbed of 360 racing up there with those various series. And when they tangle, that's the other thing about the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. All of those series work together on this one.
You're getting all choked up, Steve. It's
This-
all
I'll
they
tell you
all
what,
work together.
When this cold gets gone, I'm going to be the happiest person in the world. It's not a cold; it's kind of like allergies or something. But they all work together on this. So it's 5 sanctioning bodies,
yeah, and that's
all
amazing.
yielding to work together on this race this weekend. I think Jessica Zemkin won it last year.
Oh, I think
That's right.
she did.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, we need to step. Oh, by the way, speaking of racing this coming weekend, our boy Greg Wilson, the Hercules tire car.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you what,
I know where he's going.
He's going to Fremont. He's
Fremont
going to
is
Fremont.
going to be the it.
Yes, it
place
is.
in
It's going to
Ohio
be
this
the it
weekend.
space to go. So you can check out Greg at his website or Hercules Tires, of course. Those folks do a great job, but you can catch Greg at Fremont this weekend. We'll give you the rest of the schedule coming up here and our Kick It Driver of the Week. Stay with us, everyone.
Hi, this is Sam Haferteep. You're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
The American Sprint Car Series returns for its 24th year. Over 150 events across national and regional schedules, 56 cities, 16 states, and some of the sport's best like Herrera, Swindell, Haferteep, and Reitzel, along with the next generation of stars. See the full lineup of events at ASCSRacing.com. Get updates on Facebook and Twitter, and catch every Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour event live on RacingBoys.com.
Hi, I'm NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon. Did you know that 43 children are diagnosed with cancer each and every day? That more children die from cancer than any other disease? Athletes of all ages are dedicating their stats to change these stats, and you can too. Visit JeffGordonChildren'sFoundation.org to become a Kick It champion. No matter what your sport, you can use your points, laps, or goals to change the odds for kids with cancer. Make your stats really count. Become a Kick It champion.
A rough-running engine could be suffering from buildup of fuel and oil deposits, but O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Clean out engine buildup with Seafoam Motor Treatment, $7.99 each. Earn double points on this purchase during O Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Danny Holkraver, now back to Wing Nation with Steve and Kendra.
Thank you, Danny. We are having a great time. We appreciate Mitch Brown, Terry McCarl, and Brent Marks joining us. More important than all of that, though, thank you for joining us here on MRN.com. Upcoming, let's do this. Let's do Kick It Driver of the Week, Kendra. Who do we have for that? What do you have?
Oh, Steve, you've just put me on the spot.
Uh-oh.
I have another topic that I want to put out there.
Go to the other
for
topic
us.
out there.
So I'm traveling a lot on
Yes.
Sunday and coming home from the West Coast. So I have
Right.
10 hours between
Right.
flights and layovers. And I'm thinking about the cost of racing.
Okay.
And I posed the question on Twitter and got a lot of good feedback.
Sure.
So I really want to post it to our fans out there because, Steve, we only get to certain tracks in certain areas and we see things, but we don't get to see everything.
Globally, yeah.
So there are things that here in the Carolinas we would say, well, this is an issue with cost of racing, but it would be different than what people in Pennsylvania say, different than what people in California say. But I really want to put the question out there to all of our fans and kind of start a conversation of fans, of drivers, of promoters. What is going on with our sport when we see costs getting out of control?
Sure.
And I'm not just talking about costs for the drivers, for the teams. I'm talking costs for fans.
Right, exactly.
Costs for the families that are going. Costs
Right.
for the drivers to get there. Costs for where are sponsors now?
Cost of operating a racetrack.
Everything. I mean, there has to be some answers in there, but in order to see what those answers are, we have to get a complete vision of
everything.
what all these expenses are from every angle. So I really want to put that out there, get some good discussion going of where the issues are. One of the things I had an issue with in California this weekend is pit passes were $60 to get into the pits. And I wonder, we're trying to get fans to get into this sport, but how can they do it if they can't afford to get in?
Boy, that's a lot of
It
money.
just it's very expensive. And then I hear, well, that's kind of normal out here in California. Well, you have people in Pennsylvania saying, what? It's 25 out here. This is crazy. So it's like one of those things where you can't do it from just one point of view. So I really want to maybe start a friendly discussion of what's going on in the sport. You know, how can we make things better from every point of view? You know, Greg Wilson had a great tweet about thank you, Port Royal, for putting more money through the field back through the field.
They didn't just go with the basic purse. They added more money to the purse in every spot.
So it's things like that that's like, does that help? And he said it really helped the guys that traveled out there. So I think this is a healthy discussion.
Yeah.
You know, we usually wait till the end of the year and talk to Brian Carter. But let's get some conversation going before then.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Tee it up.
Soapbox.
Soapbox.
Done.
There we go.
Soapbox done.
Absolutely.
Kick It Driver of the Week will be announced later. I know we're running out of time.
Exactly.
But yes.
Absolutely. Let's get through the schedule here. Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. They've got a pair of them this weekend. I-80 Speedway, Greenwood, Nebraska. Aaron Reitzel, the point leader. 121 back is Hollywood Herrera. Don't look now. Objects in the mirror may be larger than they seem. Wayne Johnson, only 155 points back. So your top three separated by 155 points. It's pretty tight. And we'll see what happens with that. World of Outlaws, Clay County Fair Speedway, Spencer, Iowa on Friday. T-Mac talked about it. Deer Creek Speedway, Spring Valley, Minnesota on Saturday. UNOH All-Star Circuit of Champions, we talked about that just a moment ago. A pair of races Friday and Saturday night at Fremont. King of the West, Hanford, California on Saturday. IRA, Beaver Dam. 360 Sprints, of course, they have the 11th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals at us weekend. Friday night, Burger Bar night before the Nationals. Yes, indeed. Saturday, the Aero Express Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Weekly 410 Series racing. Friday night, Jacksonville Speedway in Illinois. River City Speedway in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And Williams Grove. Saturday night, Atomic. In Pennsylvania, it's the Selinsgrove National Open Saturday night, $10,000 to win. $10,000 to win at Selinsgrove. That's the big one in Pennsylvania this week. Skagit, St. Francis County. And then Sunday in Pennsylvania, Susquehanna Speedway Park has a racing program. So, man, busy weekend coming up.
Yeah, we just asked the fans on Twitter, too, where are you going this weekend? Because there are a lot of places to choose from.
Go. There really is.
There's no excuse this weekend for not getting out there.
Interesting to see if Brent Marks can continue the success in Selinsgrove this week.
We talk all the time about momentum and confidence, and he has got both right now. I mean, he's going to be tough. That is like, what do they say in football, like the 12th man?
Yeah.
That is what confidence and momentum is to a race team.
He climbs in that car and he thinks, I'm going to whoop everyone's butt. That's a big thing. That really, truly is. Pennsylvania's been really interesting, and Jeremy Elliott had this point. We've done cycles this year. You know, we go through a spell where Hodnett can't lose. Then we go through a spell where Dietrich can't lose. We had a spell earlier this year where Monteith couldn't lose. You know, and now we're in a spell where Marks couldn't lose.
It just shows you how well-rounded it is.
That's crazy.
It's a
really
strong area of the country.
All right. Hey, we appreciate everyone joining us here on the program. Thanks to Brent Marks, Terry McCarl, and Mitch Brown. But more important than all of that, thank you for joining us here today.
You've been listening to the nation's premier winged sprint car radio program, Winged Nation. Tune in next Tuesday at noon for more talk from the dirt tracks. Winged Nation is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. Winged Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.
All the different guys.